Once upon a time, in a small village nestled in the rolling hills of the countryside, there lived a young woman named Sophia. Sophia was a kind and gentle soul, loved by all who knew her. She was engaged to be married to a wealthy and successful businessman named Alexander, who lived in the city. One day, Alexander's car broke down on his way home from a business trip, and he found himself stranded in Sophia's village. With no other options, he accepted Sophia's offer to spend the night at her family's small cottage. As they sat by the fire, Sophia's mother, Rachel, noticed the way Alexander looked at her daughter. She saw the admiration and adoration in his eyes and felt a sense of unease. She knew that Alexander was not the kind of man who would be content with a simple village life, and she feared for her daughter's future. As the night wore on, Sophia and Alexander talked long into the night, sharing stories and laughter. Sophia's mother watched from the shadows, her heart heavy with worry. The next morning, Alexander prepared to leave, but not before asking Sophia to accompany him on a walk through the village. As they strolled, Alexander pointed out the beauty of the countryside, the rolling hills, and the sparkling stream. Sophia listened, her heart full of joy and love for the man by her side. But little did Sophia know, Alexander had no intention of staying in the village or marrying her. He was merely passing the time until his car was repaired. He had no intention of hurting Sophia's feelings, but he couldn't deny the attraction he felt for her. As they walked, they came across a beautiful wildflower, and Alexander picked it for Sophia. She smiled, her heart full of happiness, and Alexander felt a pang of guilt. He knew he had to leave, but he couldn't resist one last kiss. Sophia's mother watched from afar, her heart heavy with sorrow. She knew her daughter was in love with Alexander, but she also knew that he would never stay in the village. She feared for her daughter's future, knowing that Alexander would eventually break her heart. As Alexander prepared to leave, Sophia walked him to his car. They shared one last kiss, and Alexander promised to return soon. Sophia believed him, her heart full of hope and love, but Alexander never returned. Sophia waited for weeks, months, and eventually, years. She wrote him letters, but they went unanswered. She tried to move on, but her heart remained heavy with sorrow. Years later, Sophia's mother revealed the truth to her daughter. Alexander had never intended to stay in the village or marry her. He had merely used her for a night's comfort. Sophia was devastated, her heart shattered into a million pieces. But as she looked back on that fateful night, Sophia realized that she had been blind to Alexander's true intentions. She had seen only what she wanted to see, and she had ignored the warning signs. She vowed never to make the same mistake again and to always trust her instincts. And so, Sophia moved on, her heart healed, and her spirit renewed. She found love again, with a man who truly loved her for who she was, and she lived happily ever after.